Hello, my beautiful Phantom fam. This is Nat from the future. I'm just letting you know that this episode audio quality is a little different than normal because Katie and I were sitting side by side. Her basement got flooded and all her shit got wrecked, so bear with us. Thank you, love you, enjoy the episode. I was born with the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer. No more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing. I was born with the evil one standing as my sponsor beside the bed where I was ushered into the world, and he has been with me since. In my opinion, more chilling words have never been spoken. They're fucking creepy. Phantom fam, cozy up and make some hot cocoa, because today we're going to talk about America's very first serial killer. Dun, dun, dun. My name is Nat.
And I'm Kate.
And you are listening to Wading into the Void.
Recording Together edition.
Sitting side by side. So, we're going to jump right into tarot today because I have a lot of stuff to cover, and I'm hoping it gets a good enough episode. But I've immensely researched today's topic, and I guess the next episode's topic, because it's a two-parter, by the way. Honestly, I think this is like my magnum opus. I really feel like it is. I'm so completely engrossed in this topic. I've been reading about it, watching videos about it for the past, week straight. So...
It's the only thing she's spoken to me about for
besides the other plans that we have.
Oh, yes. That none of you can know until they happen, because
that's, yeah.
Super top secret fun stuff.
I think there's only 2 or 3 people that know about it because they're gonna help in some way, shape, or form. So, you know who you are. So yeah, I have the tarot for today, and I always plan out my tarot now, because I feel like
you do. You have it written down and everything.
I do.
She's like, I need to plan.
I need the quality to be there. This is a researched episode by me, which never happens. I know I talk about it all the time, but I never do it. I never actually stick to anything that I say. So, this, like I said, is my magnum opus. I'm not even joking. This is the best you're gonna get. So...
She's like, take it or leave it. This is
the best version of me that you, the listener, is ever gonna get. I'm not joking.
Should I be concerned?
No, I think this is really good. So... The oracle that we're doing for today is the Mausolea Oracle of Souls, because I feel like it's kind of fitting. And we're probably going to do these cards for the next episode, too, just to keep the theme. Unless my other cards that I bought come in. Because I went on a tarot card shopping spree.
Your mother is going to kill you.
They were $4 each. I found a website that has them for very cheap. So I got a bunch of decks that I really wanted for a while.
I take it back. Her mom's not going to kill her. They're going to come in and they're going to be the flimsiest paper ever.
No, I'll show you. I ordered...
We know how I am about my paper.
I got gilded, some gilded decks. Get the fuck...
Are you on Temu?
No. We don't support that website.
That's not what you said when you text me 50 times in one day. Download this. Click this link so I can get free things. And I'm just leave me alone.
So I got the gilded Guillermo del Toro tarot cards.
Okay.
I got the gilded occult tarot.
Okay.
I got 2 Over the Garden Wall tarot, because I'm going to be gifting them to someone who is a listener. And then I got the power of cannabis, the metaphysical cannabis one. That I have wanted that for so long. I got the Earthbound Oracle. I got the Angelarium version of the same person who does the Mausolea. I got the power of Samhain. How do you say it?
Samhain.
I'm sorry. And then I got Kim Cran's Archetypes.
My Celtic ancestors are literally weeping in their graves at Nad's pronunciation of Samhain.
Sarah Good is probably like, she deserves to die.
She's like, dumb bitch.
Dumb ass bitch. Jealous ass bitch. I've had that song stuck in my head all day. Yeah.
I have had absolutely nothing stuck in my head all day. I think this might be the first time where I think zero thoughts have been going through my mind.
Dude. I have been on some shit today. I'm not even joking. I don't think I looked at my phone, like, maybe twice today.
Wow.
Like, I was so focused on figuring other people's shit out. It's crazy. I love my job. Anyways, we're gonna do the Mausolea Oracle of Souls, illustrated by Jason Engel, and the text is by Rabbit Stoddard, with additional writing by Jason Engel. And that's it. So the card that we got today is Danu, the mother of creation. She represents motherhood, ferocity, and creation. That's a really cool card.
I like her horn helmet.
I like her 4 fucking arms.
Oh, how did I miss that?
I don't know.
I'm just like, that seems normal.
So, the mother of creation. Danu is the mother goddess of creation in Anwen, and all of the fair folk are descended from her. She supports all creative pursuits and typifies the benevolent mother principle of fertility, wisdom, creativity, and abundance. However, that which creates a thing also protects it fiercely. Danu teaches us of the double-edged sword of creation and civilization. The benevolent mother that nurtures and guides with gentle wisdom on the one hand. On the other, the ferocious beast dam that will destroy all who threaten those she calls her children.
Jesus, okay.
So, this is kind of like Mama Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, on one hand, I'm creating. It's like that saying that my mom always says, I put you in the world, I can take you out of the world. Literally exactly that. Thank you, Danu.
Does anyone else's mother, like, typical fashion, we are knocking everything to the floor. Does anyone else's mother, like, vaguely threaten to murder them with that saying at any point throughout their lives?
My mom just hates me because my mom loves me, but she hates me right now. She hates me right now because she is in charge of all of my money. And I am horrible with my money. And I'm always like, Mom, can you send me more money? Mama, because I have an allowance. At 24 years old, as a homeowner who works full time, I have a weekly allowance. But if I didn't, I would probably not have a house. And probably wouldn't have a car. Probably would be in jail or something for not paying that shit. So yeah, thank you, Mom. Love you.
I'm just never gonna own a home, so there's that.
It's a tough market.
Flashback to earlier today.
Yeah.
My PTSD continues to just grow. And my anxiety. It's not just going to be one of us on this podcast that speaks to a therapist anymore. Because I've hit my breaking point.
Honestly, though, I think everyone should go to therapy. I think that going to therapy has helped me so much. Even just, like, figuring out how to talk. Because I have always really struggled talking about, like, my feelings and putting it in a understandable way so that people know exactly what's going on in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still hard, but it's easier.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I expect my first session to go something like this.
Oh. My first session, I spilled my entire guts and immediately got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So...
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be, like, too nervous to say something. And then I'll be like, bitch, you're here to say things. Why are you not saying anything?
Exactly.
And then I'll just mentally go into my own head and it'll be a fun time. But my work offers therapy online through our insurance, so...
There you go.
Gonna do that, because who has the time to go physically visit a therapist?
Barely me. So our tarot for today is the Horror Tarot Deck and Guidebook by Aria Gmitter and Minerva Siegel, illustrated by Abigail Larson, who also illustrates the Darkwood Tarot. So today we got the Knight of Wands. He's a little mummy guy.
He really is.
He's just a mummy. That's it. There's no wands in the photo.
Like, there are absolutely
There's
zero
literally
wands.
nothing. It's just,
They were like, we want to put a mummy in here, but, like, where should we put him? And they were like, just shove him in the wand section.
So we got him upright. Slow moving and wrapped in their past, the Knight of Wands is a patient and charismatic leader who takes action only when needed. They are newly active after a recent event brought about a change in life circumstances.
Well, shit. Okay.
I feel like that's me. Maybe. I don't know. It could be anyone. With our tarot done for today, I'm very excited to announce that we will now be delving into the chilling tale of H.H. Holmes, the notorious American serial killer.
Da-da-da. Honestly, though, he is... You can't have favorite serial killers, but, like, as far as, like, story goes and, like, why and the mystery around him, he's probably one of my favorites to learn about. I guess, if we're gonna put it that way.
Honestly, I've heard about him before. Not super in-depth as I know now, but he never really, like, stuck out to me until I actually, like, understood everything that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, when you hear the, like, I don't know. When you hear it, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, I am fairly well-versed in his story, and it's just, like, a freaking mind trip, the whole thing, and you're just like, how? Just how? How?
Honestly, it's like... It doesn't make any sense.
It proves why paper trails and proper documentation are very important. And you'll understand that when Nat gets into it.
Yeah, which most of that isn't even going to be in this episode. It's going to be next episode. Next episode's going to be, like, that's going to have all the crazy shit. This is just giving you the background on who H.H. Holmes was before he was H.H. Holmes. So...
Stick around.
Exactly. So... H.H. Holmes was a seemingly ordinary man, but he had a very, very dark secret. By day, he was a charming pharmacist and a successful businessman, but by night, he was a cold-blooded murderer. Holmes constructed a nightmarish murder castle in Chicago, and a year after began marketing the castle's lodging vacancies and employment opportunities during the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition. The murder castle was designed with hidden rooms, secret passages, and deadly traps, which we'll get into later in the next episode.
And I feel like that is what everyone knows him for.
Exactly.
Is the murder castle. But what else is there to H.H. Holmes?
Why did he have the murder castle? What was he doing at the murder castle besides the murders? Like, why construct this building just for this purpose?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe so he could live a lot of various lives.
So, throughout today's episode, we're going to explore Herman's early life and how his twisted psyche evolved. We'll discuss his eerie obsession with death and just how he came to be America's first and probably one of the most notorious serial killers. Okay. I would say in the late 1800s, for sure. I know, like, we have some pretty prolific serial killers in, like, the 1980s.
Yep.
But, like, 1880s, this guy, he's it. He's the first.
I think, like, it's no secret that I like to do historic cases and things like this. And I think it's because there is that, like, shroud of mystery.
Well, there's only really mystery because they didn't have modern technology.
That, and they were really bad at keeping any type of documentation. So It's just like, okay, what can I uncover here? It's, like, literally random how you find this information. Like, you, like, turn over a random stone and it's like, oh, there's more!
Yeah. So, H.H. Holmes is definitely not his original fucking name. I hope y'all know that. So...
He's a fucking poser.
He's a poser. Herman Webster Mudgett.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Later known as H.H. Holmes, was born on May 16th, 1861, in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. As we delve into his early life, we discover a young boy with an insatiable curiosity and a love for exploring the world around him, specifically animals. Now, Herman was born into an affluent family. He enjoyed a privileged childhood and was said to be unusually intelligent at an early age. Not much is known about his parents' parenting style, but according to some sources, both Holmes's parents may have been physically and emotionally abusive. It's said that his father was an alcoholic, but both parents were intensely religious and supposedly used their Methodist beliefs to parent with cold, strict discipline.
Yeah, I can't make any guesses as to what they might have done to poor Herman Mudgett.
Well, of these sources, some have claimed that the mistreatment of H.H. Holmes, or Herman, as a child may have included forcing him into long periods of isolation, making him go without food. But there's also claims that Holmes's father used rags dunked in kerosene to quiet the cries of the child. Now, Herman was not the only child. I think he had 3 other siblings. So one can assume if he was abused, they all probably were. But Holmes himself stated as an adult, "I was well trained by loving and religious parents, I know, and any deviations in my life after from the straight and narrow way of rectitude are not attributable to the want of a tender mother's prayer or a father's control emphasized, when necessary, by the liberal use of the rod wielded by no sparing hand." I mean, to me, that kind of seems like he was low-key saying he was abused by his family.
He's like, my dad beat me with a rod, and I'm fine.
But think of the time. And I know that's like a really bad excuse, but it's like, people just beat the shit out of their kids to discipline them. So what he's saying is he doesn't think he was terribly abused. He thinks that he was just disciplined as a child, like anybody else would be disciplined. So
sounds like childhood trauma to me. But
he was basically saying he was abused, but in a nice way.
He's like, I was abused, but like, so was Jimmy next door and Thomas down the street, and like, I just thought it was normal because it happened to everyone.
So he's basically saying that his actions later in life weren't created by the way that his parents disciplined him.
Bullshit.
However, Holmes was known to be a serial liar and a fraudster. So I guess we may never know what the truth is about his family. I don't know if they've ever done, like, any kind of interviews with his siblings or anything. I have no fucking clue. But from what I read, like, the reviews are mixed on whether he was legitimately abused or not.
The test results are in.
So, take any allegations with a grain of salt, but in my opinion, it kind of fits the serial killer profile to be horribly abused as a child, so I'm really just not sure.
Was he dropped on his head, too?
Well, as a child who was cross-eyed, relatively quiet, I can't believe that happened so perfectly.
Well, it's just like the fucking checklist for serial killers.
Yeah.
Abuse from parents. Severe brain trauma. Like...
Well, I don't know. But, like I said, as a child, he was cross-eyed and severely quiet. So he was often the target of older bullies at school. I don't know if they, like, beat him up or anything like that. Maybe he got trauma from that. Maybe he got, like, head trauma, like, physical trauma. But on one occasion, the bully set up a skeleton to scare Herman in one of the schoolrooms. And the incident, I think what happened was they made him, like, touch its face or something. And it traumatized him so much, but also, on the other hand, incredibly fascinated him for years. So much so that the story made it into his own autobiography. Like, it stuck with him. Which he wrote after he was arrested for murder. So, Holmes became fascinated with skeletons, and soon after became incredibly obsessed with death.
Yeah. And you know, at that time, it's not like a fake skeleton or anything either.
No,
That's
it's
totally a real one.
Yeah, exactly. So, Herman expressed an interest in medicine at a young age. And when I say medicine, I mean something nasty under the guise of being related to the medical field. I even put a little smiley face. This fascination in the medical field reportedly led him to trapping animals, which it doesn't say if they were wild or people's pets.
Probably both.
Probably both.
He probably started with squirrels and then saw Susie's cat down the street and was like,
It does not say what kind of animals, but he decided to trap these animals and practice quote-unquote surgery on them. Which, this is something we see a lot in stories of serial killers' childhoods, and is usually a prime indicator that a child is pretty emotionally disturbed.
I mean, who was it that we covered that shoved a cat in a freezer?
Was it Gary Ridgway?
It might have been.
I think it was.
But it's always something to do with the animals. It's either that or starting fires.
I think it's like a power thing. Like, you're taking something completely innocent and you're mutilating it, and it makes you feel powerful, but it also is curing your curiosity of what's on the inside. You know, like, I want to know what's inside.
Enough, but it's still fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. When I was a kid, I caught tadpoles and cut them in half. But...
It explains so much.
But I could never do that now. I would never want to do that.
I mean, I was an avid hunter when I was younger. I used to go with my father all the time, and...
Yeah.
I
feel like that's different, though. Because you're not just, like, grabbing somebody's pet and slitting its throat. Like, it's a sport.
Yeah, I'm just saying I had no interest in ever cutting them open.
It's
so
gross.
I'm like,
I didn't like it. I don't like it.
For example, I never did that part. I was like, Dad!
Yeah, I made my dad do it the one time I shot a deer. And let me tell you, after I shot it, I cried my fucking ass off. Because my dad and my pop were there, and they were like, we're so proud of you. And I feel bad. I killed the deer. Bro was just trying to live. Yeah, so that was the only time I killed a deer or, like, something while I was hunting.
I feel like that's a respectable reaction, though. Like, it's when people go out and do it and feel, like, no remorse or like thankfulness.
It's like when people go on those, like, paid hunts for elephants and other protector
safari hunts.
Yeah, other protected animals. I think that's gross. That's, like, you're mentally disturbed if you do that.
The only part to that I can understand, and it's not the generalized thing of it, it's the odd case where, let's say, the rogue elephant is attacking a village and they can't take it down themselves, right?
Because
that part's totally fine.
That's not, you're not paying $25,000 to fly to Africa and kill an albino elephant. Like, yeah. So, honestly,
the people, and it's fine.
Yeah. So, back to what we were talking about. While I was writing this, I was kind of like, you know, I'm wondering if H.H. Holmes was a prime inspiration for serial killer profiling in the 80s. Like, I wonder if they took him, because he's the first American serial killer, if they took him and then compared him to the more modern serial killers and kind of pinpointed each of these things. Because, like I said, he's checking off boxes.
So you think he's the original case study for the Mindhunters?
Like, he's like the quintessential serial killer. He has motive. It's not like passion killings. Mm-hmm. You know, like he will have motives and greed and why he's doing it. But also he's an opportunistic killer as well, which a lot of the more prolific serial killers are opportunistic killers.
Mm-hmm. Israel Keys.
I was about to do an episode about him, honestly. But yeah, no, like Israel Keys, even technically Jack the Ripper could also be opportunistic. But he did have, like, a specific...
He had a type, but the killings himself were opportunistic.
Because he had a specific schedule that, you could tell he worked a full-time job. So he would only go out on the weekends. He would only go out at night on the weekends and kill someone. And that's, like, opportunistic in that scenario.
He didn't care who you were. He didn't set his eyes on a specific victim.
As long as you were a prostitute who had a drinking problem.
Basically. You can't even draw the line at prostitute either. It's like you have to have a drinking problem.
Yeah. Anyways, we gotta get away from that. So, some accounts indicate that Herman may have been responsible for the death of a friend when he was 11 years old. And I tried, for the life of me, to fucking find this information. Because I was like, how do they think he was killed? Like, blah, 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 blah. But, like, I couldn't find anything. Somebody said that they think the kid was drowned. I was just talking to Haley about this on Sunday. They think maybe he was drowned or something. Mm-hmm. But that was just word of mouth. So I don't actually know. I couldn't find anything. I searched for maybe an hour just for this information. But all in all, it was chalked up as an accident. But many believe that it was farther from the truth.
I mean, me personally, I think he totally did it.
Probably.
Like, a lot of the times, and you said he was 11, that is when these young serial killers, when they start to develop their interests, is when they will escalate to do things like this.
Yeah.
Like, we threw it back to, what's his name that I can't frickin' remember?
Isaiah Keys?
No. The one we were just talking about before.
Gary Ridgway.
Gary Ridgway. He, like, completely abused and almost murdered another young boy around the same age.
That's true.
So it's like that weird, like, awakening thing where they're like, the animals don't do it anymore. Well, and they have to take that next step.
If you look at basic biology, that's around the age that people hit puberty.
True.
That's around the time where their hormones are increasing. And that's when a lot of serial killers probably find the sexual aspects of their fascination. Like, I don't know, wanting to fuck a dead body. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no. No thank you. Not for me.
But basically, Herman was never proven to have been the murderer of the child, so he basically got away with it scot-free.
And in reality, how could they prove it? They didn't have DNA testing. They probably found the poor boy, 24 hours later or 48 hours later, and they're not gonna frickin' know.
And they're not gonna look at an 11-year-old boy and be like, yes,
you.
he murdered him or her. I don't know actually the gender of the person who died. That's how little information there was.
Plot twist, this poor person didn't even exist.
Hemran. So yeah. Herman graduated at the age of 16, and soon after, at the age of 17, on July 4th, 1878, he married Clara Lovering in Alton, New Hampshire. They had only one son, Robert Lovering Mudgett, who was born in Loudon, New Hampshire, or Loudon, New Hampshire.
I was like, did you just say
Yeah.
Loudon?
It's Loudon.
It's Loudon.
New Hampshire in 1880. And they had all this information about how Robert became a CPA and was an accountant. And I was like, I don't need that information. But okay,
that's
if you were wondering what happened.
Okay, so Herman's first son was very successful. And they tried to get this information to distract from the fact that his father was a piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't know why we needed that information. But, I mean, I guess he didn't kill his kid. He didn't kill his kid. That one.
If you haven't figured it out yet, we are sitting right next to each other. So she said that, and I just gave her a look. I'm like, ah.
Okay, so this is interesting because I was just reading about this today, and I didn't have enough time to, put it in here. But from what I read, it seems that H.H. Holmes was completely head over heels in love with Clara. This was his soulmate. He was absolutely in love with her. So I don't know what the fuck happened.
He was some sort of, psychopath or sociopath.
For sure. He had 100%.
This, I wouldn't go as far as say, he was in love with Clara. I would say he was obsessed.
Probably.
But he still had that, complete detachment where the emotional side of things was concerned. So that's what led him to have his mistresses.
Well, I mean, I'll get into it. So, as a young man, still known as Herman Webster Mudgett,
I hate it.
He embarked on a journey of academic pursuit.
How'd that go?
He initially excelled as a student, but little did anyone know that the halls of learning would also become a breeding ground for his sinister ambitions.
Woo!
Herman decided to study medicine at the University of Vermont at age 18, but left midway because he wasn't happy with the curriculum. He literally was like, I can't cut people up, I'm leaving.
And that the worst part is that literally is what it is. They didn't have any strange autopsy program, or they didn't have any access to dissection to learn about the human body, and he was like, nope, fuck it, I'm out.
Exactly. So Holmes, or Herman, whatever, because he's technically not Holmes at this time, but Herman was then accepted into the University of Michigan Medical School. And it was during this time at the university that Holmes's fascination with the human anatomy and death intensified. Even more so. While he was enrolled in medical school, Holmes stole cadavers from the laboratory. He burned or disfigured them, and then planted the bodies, making it look as if they had been killed in an accident. Oh, why would he make these bodies look like they'd been in an accident, you say? Why would he disfigure them completely so nobody knew who they were? Well, my friends, because he was committing fraud, of course. The scandal behind what he was doing was that Holmes would take out insurance policies on these people before planting the bodies and would collect the money once the bodies were discovered. And honestly, this is where we start to see the beginning of Holmes's sick desires and greed, because this is the start of his MO.
Would you argue that his killings weren't initially, like... Rephrase. Would you argue that his killings weren't initiated because of his desire to kill or for his greed?
100% started with greed. And then I think he found an interest in killing, which we'll definitely talk about in the second episode, just from what he was doing.
Yeah. Because for me, like, of course, when he was younger, I would say it was the pain and the desire to inflict pain and harm that motivated him. But once he hit, like, that, like, stage of adulthood where, like, money starts to matter, that's where his, like, ideology started to shift. Well, and, like, the murder was fun, but the money was the most important.
Yeah, because deep down, Holmes is a very greedy person. Holmes is very smart as well. Like, he
Hate
knows...
to admit it, but yes, he is.
knows exactly what he's doing. He's a very well-spoken human. He is the basic con artist. Like, he's a good con artist. And that's really what motivates him to do everything that he did. And I didn't even say it before, but there are 27, like, canonical murders that he did, but people guess that it may have been closer to 200. Like,
I would believe it. I mean, he had a fucking murder castle.
The amount of people that he killed just for financial gain is outstanding. So, I think they kind of go hand in hand, but I do think the money was the biggest motivator. It's just like, that grandma serial killer.
Oh.
Who would do exactly like H.H. Holmes. Would take out the insurance policies, kill the people that she has basically in hospice, and bury them in her fucking backyard.
Yes.
Like, it's the same thing. No, she was taking their social security because they were elderly people. She was taking their social security. I think, I want to say her name is legit, like, serial killer grandma or some shit like that. Like, she was an old lady who would horribly mistreat these old people.
I'll find her name.
Yeah.
It's gonna bother me. Dorothea Puente.
Yes, Dorothea. Yes.
I'm like, it's right
if
here.
If you see a picture of her...
She is so unimposing.
She's a lady with big giant fucking glasses. Just an old lady in her fucking moo-moo. And she's just killing people and burying them in her backyard for money.
Yeah.
Like, this is the female version of H.H. Holmes. On a smaller scale.
And less sophisticated. She really was not that bright. She just got away with it because she was old as shit, and they were like, oh, she couldn't be doing that.
But also, she got away with it because everyone was scared of her. Because people still lived there, and they knew what was going on, but they were scared, and they had nowhere else to go. So, yeah. Female version of H.H. Holmes, basically. But yeah, going back to Holmes, this is really where we start to see his MO. This is he wants the money. Yeah, the murder's cool, but the money's better. And I honestly think that his involvement in cadaver dissection may have also contributed to the desensitization of his emotions. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of allowed him to do all these horrible things in the future. Because he's used to cutting up bodies. He studied it in school. Like, a dead body don't mean a thing to him.
No.
So, I just thought that was interesting. Going back to his wife, Clara, housemates recalled later in life that Holmes was physically violent towards her.
Shocker!
Which makes sense on the obsession theory. But in 1884, before his graduation, Clara moved back to New Hampshire and knew little of him afterwards. And I'm pretty sure she took the kid, too. And that's the only reason why they lived, is because she fucking dipped.
She was like, nope, not into it anymore.
Because, as you'll see in the future, anyone who takes on Holmes's name and family,
they just kind of like mysteriously
mysteriously disappear. So,
and if they don't, they die suddenly, and he gets their money.
Yeah, I don't know how people didn't fucking catch on quicker. But, that's me, I guess. After Holmes passed his medical exams, he moved to Moores, New York. And a rumor began to spread that he had been seen with a little boy who later disappeared. Holmes claimed that the boy went back to his home in Massachusetts. I don't know how old this boy was, but it says little boy. I don't know how a little boy is getting from Moores, New York to Massachusetts by himself. But, like the wonderful cops in New York, no investigation took place, and Holmes quickly left town. He's still under the name Mudgett, by the way, Herman Mudgett. I'm just saying Holmes because whatever.
Who wants to say Herman Mudgett?
Mudgett. Mudgett McMudgett later traveled to Philadelphia and was hired as a keeper at Norristown State Hospital. But he quit after a few days. Doesn't say why. Maybe he killed someone. I don't fucking know.
He was
probably.
Like,
He then took a position at a drugstore in Philadelphia. And this is where we kind of start to see what he's actually planning on doing for a career. Because the pharmacist thing kind of sticks. But he has a position at a drugstore in Philadelphia. But while he was there, a boy died after taking medicine that was purchased at the store. It's a little suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Like
Don't
the Tylenol killings. Do you remember the Tylenol killings?
Don't cover the Tylenol killings.
Why?
Because we finna cover the Tylenol killing.
Well, okay. So,
cyanide poisoning!
Kind of like the Tylenol killings. That we'll talk about at some point, I guess. But Holmes denied any involvement in the child's death and immediately left the city. This is his thing. He travels all around the fucking country, murders people, and then runs away like a scared little bitch.
And because of the American judicial system, they don't fucking track it because jurisdictions don't speak to each other.
And they don't care. They literally don't care. And it's also 1886, so...
No excuses.
What the fuck are they doing? They're riding horses around going, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi!
On that note, I've been playing Sims 4 Horse Ranch, and I've been a very happy girl.
I have to play it. I have it, and I was about to play it, and I just didn't.
I have a horse that's worth over 9,000 simoleons.
How do you do that?
You make them good.
Make them good at what?
Racing barrels, jumping jumps, running.
Can you do dressage?
They have, like, this weird kind of dressage where it's more about, like, making sure your horse is calm and respectable.
Stupid. Anyways.
You can enter competitions and win money.
Ooh. I'm gonna have a farm. I'm gonna have a ranch. A dude ranch.
That's what I have!
I'm gonna have a dude ranch with 1 woman and 4 men.
We've all seen that video.
And her name's gonna be Natty Ice. No, I'm just kidding. I think her name
Like I said, we've all seen that video.
What the? I'm not a porn star! What matter? Anyways.
What matter? He was a great guy!
But what about the murders?
What matter? Oh, I love that meme.
Oh, golly gee willikers. Alright.
Gotta do it to him.
So, going back to what we're supposed to be doing. In 1886, while still legally married to Clara, Holmes married 24-year-old Myrta Belknap in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He filed for divorce from Clara a few weeks after marrying Myrta. But, allegedly, claiming infidelity on her part. He was basically like, she's for the streets. Let me divorce her.
He's like, I might have been the one that got married while I was married, but she's the whore.
But he's a man in 1886, so who are they gonna believe? Even in 2023, who are they gonna believe? Probably the man. The claims couldn't be proven, so the suit went nowhere. So they actually didn't believe him. But they didn't actually care. They were like, fuck off. But before moving to Chicago, it's suspected that that's when he changed his name to Henry Howard Holmes. To avoid the possibility of being exposed by victims of his previous scams and probably also by people related to the people he has very clearly murdered already. Holmes moved to Chicago in the same year, 1886, where he got a job working at a pharmacy under the alias Dr. Henry H. Holmes, and later in life would be known as H. H. Holmes. Jesus. What the fuck?
I scrolled across a meme of a very poorly cosplayed Elsa that says, "Hey kid, wanna smell some snow?"
That's fucked up.
Let it blow!
No! No.
I'm dead inside.
I'm bringing us back, because I'm almost done.
You're almost done?
I'm almost done. We're almost done.
Damn.
It's 46 minutes in, so I timed this pretty well, I'd say.
Yes.
So, we have his name. He's now at the location of the murder castle.
Yes.
He's married to his second wife, and will be having, 2 or 3 children with her.
Yep.
And then we'll see what happens there. But what was the catalyst that transformed Herman Webster Mudgett into the notorious H. H. Holmes? Was there a defining moment that pushed him further down the path of darkness, or has he always just been like this and was slowly just evolving as he aged and gained more knowledge? Katie, what do you think?
I think he's a fucking dipshit.
A smart dipshit.
And I think he was just money hungry and nothing was ever going to satisfy him. So he just kept progressing and progressing until he completely lost sight of who he was and just tried to be H. H. Holmes, but he was nobody. He was just money hungry.
Honestly, I think he has the most, basic serial killer profile, ever. He has the background of the quintessential serial killer. He's got the spontaneity, or he's got the, spontaneity. But he has the sociopathic tendencies.
Yes.
Of the fraud, deceit, ignoring laws, little to no remorse, acting without considering consequences, etc. He's smart at a young age, hurts animals as a child. He becomes interested in the medical field, specifically the surgery part or the dissection part.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see how his greed and sick fascination with death will go hand in hand for his MO.
Mm-hmm.
But as we dig in deeper in the next episode, we're going to discuss some of Holmes' most shocking murders, uncovering the chilling methods he used to dispatch his victims into the afterlife. And we'll also shed light on those that he lured into his gruesome web of murder. Because not only is he good at being a fraud in insurance, he also is a fraud in life in general and gets a lot of people to help them.
Yeah, he's oddly very persuasive.
He is very persuasive, very charismatic.
He literally is a con man. He is so good at what he does. It's awful.
He puts out want ads for wives and gets them.
He does.
I'm telling you right now, he's like, I need a wife. And they're like, sign me up!
He literally put out a fucking Craigslist ad. He was searching for female.
3 times.
25 years old. kids don't hurt. Prefers she didn't have them.
Yeah.
But, whatever.
But honestly, have you seen a picture of H.H. Holmes?
He could probably get it, okay?
I'm not gonna lie. If he had the hat on.
If he had the hat on.
He was bald. Well, he was, like, balding. But, like, he died when he was 35. 35!
That's what happens when you're a dipshit, okay?
That's what happens when you're a psychopath and get caught because you're fucking crazy and have a murder castle. But yeah, he could get it.
Oh my gosh. I just think of that one, like, Kourtney Kardashian meme where she's touring, like, Alcatraz.
Yeah!
And she's like, I'd fuck number 2.
Yeah. That's us.
And everyone just ignores her and keeps going.
Yeah.
And she's just like, okay, fine.
But,
but she did marry Travis Barker, so.
Travis Barker is a saint, though.
No, I just mean, like, if you're... It's gonna sound mean, but if you're gonna marry someone that looks like they could be a convict, Travis Barker is it, okay? He is a gentle soul, but he could frighten the kids on the street, okay?
Yeah.
If you're listening to all those bad hooligan gossip things your parents tell you growing up, you could be scared of Travis Barker. But, yeah, I love this first part. I can't wait to see what the next part brings.
It's definitely set us up. You're not ready. I'm telling you're not ready for what this devolves into. Because it's not evolving. It's devolving into chaos. And murder. And death. And horrible ways of getting rid of bodies.
And just when you think it's over, it's not gonna be.
And when you think it's, when you think, oh, well, maybe he has a specific type of person he kills.
Nope.
Nope. He does not care.
He doesn't care if it's your grandma. He doesn't care if it's your Uncle Tommy.
He doesn't care if it's your little cousin Johnny. He doesn't care if it's your fucking baby. He does not give a shit. If you can get an insurance policy on a fucking big toe, he would murder it for the money. Okay. So, that's all I got for today. Let's do our sign-offs. I have an outro sentence.
Wow.
I'm here for it.
She is. Make sure that you follow us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Wading Into the Void. And, we post some fun stuff on there. We're trying to post some more interactive content to get some conversations going with y'all. So, go pop in. Give us a follow. And,
join our Discord.
Yeah, that's another one. That's a good one. Nat, tell them how they can do that.
I don't know. We got a link on Instagram in our link tree or some shit.
Can you define a less helpful podcast?
No, if you follow us on Instagram, there's a link in the top of our bio, and it'll bring you to all of our fun little places that you can go.
Yes.
Including our Discord. And on each episode, I'm pretty sure I link the Discord also on Spotify.
Yes. It's always in the description. As well as a link to our website.
www.wadingintothevoid.com.
Where you can find some awesome merch, which, I might have designed my own self. You got some tarot-inspired stuff on there. Some cryptid-inspired stuff. Aliens shit, which is, pretty popular right now. If they invade, you might want to wear something that they like. Just
if they invade, make sure you spread your legs real wide open. Oh, sorry, I'm projecting. Anyways.
Mom? Help? I'm scared.
But we do have 2 different ways that you can donate your hard-earned cash to us poor children who are victims of being murdered for insurance money.
I mean, not yet, but maybe one day.
We have a Patreon.
For a good time, not a long time.
Honestly, I guess me too. I don't know. We have a Patreon, which I think we're going to be updating again, revising, working on.
We'll see what we're gonna do.
Improving.
Yes.
Evolving.
We might think
shitting
of
on
ways on Patreon to get all of you a bit more involved, to kind of, you know, entice you, show that you're not just giving us money, you're gonna get some fun shit in return.
And I was thinking about this box idea that we have.
I like your box idea.
We talked about it before. We want to make a box filled with merchandise that is exclusive to the box. And I feel like that would be really cool. And I have a couple things that I'm working on right now that I would like to see in the box. But I think they're pretty mid. So, I don't know. But if you're interested in something like that, I think it'd be really cool to have, like, maybe a Kickstarter to see if people are interested. Just to see who would want something. Because if you back us on Kickstarter, all of that money is going into the project. So what you put into it, you're going to get even more out of it. So
I honestly really do enjoy the idea of the box.
I think it'd be really cool.
Like, let's say each box is $59.95.
Or maybe we could have 3-tiered box, right? We have a big box with everything that you could get. We have a small box and a medium box. You can get 2 items in the small box. You can get 4 items in the medium box, and you can get 8 items in the big box, or something like that.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, and please, everyone listening, take the time after listening to this episode. If you are on Spotify, please go to the community tab of this episode and vote on the poll whether or not you would be interested in some type of yearly, like, subscription box.
And, like, it's not even really a subscription. You can just be like, I'm going to get this year. But know that it's going to be, we're going to work on one every year.
Yes.
Much like how we're going to do Halloween every year. It's the same kind of thing. Like, we're going to have something really cool for the listeners and the followers of the podcast that is going to entice you to give us your money.
Jesus.
No.
But
like,
no, you're going to get something really exclusive and special out of it.
Exactly. Because, like, at this point, if you're, like, kickstarting it and they're giving you money, that's just to fund the project. It's not going into our pockets. We're trying to make something cool for you. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not trying to quit my job and become a full-time podcaster. I just want to make cool shit for people who are interested in the shit that we like.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so maybe, if all goes well with that, if you're interested, we start taking orders during Halloween. Mm-hmm. And we go from there.
Yeah, before that.
Taking orders during Halloween, but fulfilling afterwards. Something like that.
Yeah, because I suspect if we have 8 items, we're going to have to buy those items for however many people order the boxes. Yep. Figure out which items are going to be in which box. Which items are the lower tier, which items are the higher tier, going to be in the large box. Whatever. So. Or if we randomize each box so you don't know what you're getting in each box. You just get 1 of the items, or 2 of the items, or 4 of the items, or 8 of the items.
We're going to think on it.
Yeah.
But
just throwing the idea out there. Throwing the idea out there because I think it'd be really cool, really fun. And, I mean, some of the things don't even have to be, like, wading into the void. Like, it could just be, like,
they could be partners with
stuff.
Other fun little brands that we know as the podcast, you know, things like
that. Or, like, I don't know, anything. Like, I made this thing. I can't even explain it because I don't want to spoil it. But, like, I made this thing that I feel like you could have just whenever, and it doesn't have to be related to the podcast because it's stupid and cute and, like, whatever. So, I don't know.
Maybe you'll get a crystal. Who knows?
No, we're not giving them crystals. I want them to get, like, actual cool shit. Crystals are cool, but you can get a crystal anywhere.
You're not insulted all crystals.
You're not gonna get a cool, hand-designed designed by 2 psychotic women items. Like, I'm not gonna cheap out and get crystals.
I'm not saying the whole box would be a crystal.
Maybe that could be an additional item.
That's what I'm saying.
But, like, we got the 8 items that we're creating. Or even maybe less. I don't know. I have at least 2 ideas. I have some other ideas that I have to show you. But yeah.
But that's all we're going to say about it, okay?
Yeah. So, until next time, Phantom Fam, a word to the wise. If your kid starts catching and dissecting animals, that kid ain't becoming a doctor. They're becoming a serial killer. See you next time. Bye!
Bye.